Hi guys, thank you for clicking in. My name is Maryanne Mwangi and today I'm going to be starting a Bring You to Germany series, and this video specifically is going to be talking about the three types of social programs that can bring you to Germany affordably, which are Aupair, FSJ and BFD. I'm going to be talking about their requirements, their application process, and what exactly these programs are. I'm calling it a Bring You to Germany series because the next video after this one is going to be an embassy preparation video. And if you're interested in this type of content, please subscribe to my channel and you might be the person I pick up from the airport next. Hope you enjoyed this video. You might need a notebook if this is important content to you, and if not, then let's just have fun. So I'm going to start with Aupair program. Aupair is an au pair specifically is a young adult who lives in a family in exchange for accommodation, health insurance, language cost payment, and au pair is actually one of the most beautiful programs to do in Germany, just because Germany has a very diverse culture. So many people behave differently in Germany, and living in a family makes you experience the culture so much better. Before you quit and say, oh, that is not mine, I actually did au pair myself, and up to date it has remained to be among the best decisions I've made in my life. So au pair in Germany, you can only become an au pair once in Germany, and you can only do au pair for a maximum of 1 year if you do not come from the EU. Secondly, the thing about au pair, where to get an au pair family, because if you are going to become a member of a family, you have to know where to get them from. There are 3 places where I know you can get a family. There are 2 websites online. One is called aupairworld.com. I'll link it here, or I'll use it here. One is called aupairworld.com. The second one is called aupair.com. And the third way to get an au pair family is to actually pay an agency in your country who works as an au pair agency. I really did not do that, so I don't know how much or how that could go. I personally used the Au Pair World, which works the same as the aupair.com, which you just click in one of those 2 links or both of them, you create a profile up there, and this website has a function of linking families and au pairs, and once you guys are in communication, you create a good profile for yourself. The families could pick you also. You could pick you to be their au pair, or you could also pick which family you want to become their au pair, and with further communication, that's how you get a contract. So that's how you get an au pair family. And then your job as an au pair is basically taking care of children. I am going to do another video of my experience as an au pair. So it's basically nothing hard. And the requirements, straight up to the requirements. The requirements to do au pair is, first of all, you have to have 12 years of school, which means you have KCSE certificate. And just before that hard question comes in, no, your grade doesn't matter. All you need is just to have a KCSE certificate. Secondly, you need to be below 26 years old, or at least you're 25 by the time of applying, and by the time your visa comes in, you're still below 26 years old. You can do the program from 17 as well, I think also from 16, but I think it's just better if you start already at 18, when you don't need to have someone sign things on your behalf. And the other thing you might need, or you will need, is definitely a language level. So the advantage of having a language level apart from it being a requirement, it's an advantage for you. And the advantage of doing au pair is you only need A1 level, which is the most basic level of learning German. You can get it if you do a crash course, you can get it in 4 weeks. If you do an intensive course, you can get it in, I think, 3 months. And if you do a super intensive course, you can get it in 6 weeks. So it's really a basic one. And third, of course, for the embassy, you'll need a filled out embassy form and a passport, and everything else that pertains to documents is really going to be dependent on the specific embassy that you will need. But to get an au pair contract, you just have to have the things I mentioned above. above below 26 of age. You have to have A1 level of German. You have to have, yeah. And from the family, you're going to be getting a contract, health insurance, and an obligation form. So short about the obligation form. German families do not want to sign this document because it's completely binding. But if they really have to, then they should. And if you are going to be applying to Niedersachsen, for example, where I did my Aupair, you don't really have to have had an obligation form to get your visa. Yeah. Third, benefits of doing an au pair is you vertiefen, you increase your language. Your language, German language, becomes so much better because you speak it every day and you speak it to children. So you really have no choice. If you're shy about speaking your German, doing au pair is definitely going to be the best thing to do, because most German kids cannot speak English, and you really just have to communicate. And if your German is forced out of you, then you're definitely learning even more and more. Second, doing au pair opens you up to so many opportunities in Germany. You can study immediately after doing an au pair, that you go to the go to the university and study whatever you want. Secondly, you can do a volunteer program, which is the next thing I'm about to talk about. You can do the volunteer program, which is so nice, and since I'm going to talk about it, right? Yeah. And then third, you can do an apprenticeship, for example, in nursing, what I'm doing. Yeah, and it's really a great program, and just like I said before, it turned out to be the best decision of my life. You're also going to be fully covered. Your health insurance, you're gonna be getting about 260 euros as pocket money, and an extra 50 euros for your language course. In total, for your language course, you could be getting about 600 euros in a year, which is enough to take you through 2 German courses. Yeah. And I mean, even if you keep a good contact and good relationship with your family, you'll always have a second home here in Germany. Yeah. So that's basically it about au pair. And then we're going to move into talking about FSJ. Is basically FSJ, and because the German alphabet J is pronounced as yacht, so we say FSJ. Is simply a voluntary service program, and it's a state-funded voluntary program. You can do FSJ program from 6 to 18 months. Depending on how you want it. I know people who've done it 6 months, I know people who've done it 10 months, 12 months, all the way to 18 months. Yeah, so where can you do this thing? You can do voluntary services in children homes, homes of the aged, home of people with disabilities, in hospitals, in kindergartens, and all that. You can do your one voluntary year in all of those places. And then the advantages of doing volunteer is that it's going to be a very powerful part. It plays a very powerful role on your CV, especially if you're intentional about working in Germany or studying in Germany afterwards. It plays an important role. Secondly, just like au pair, it opens you up to important doors. For example, you can study, you can do your apprenticeship here in Germany. And I mean, also you can do au pair. If you do au pair and then do FSJ, it's okay. You can also do FSJ and then do au pair as well. It's allowed, but it's not really important, but you can. You also have to get accommodation, which is completely dependent on who gives you the position to work for them as a volunteer. Most people provide accommodations, but if they don't, they'll pay you extra money to pay for your rent. And as an FSJ, to get up to about 300 to 500 euros, which is quite enough, considering if you get accommodation, you only need, food or something. So I find it to be enough. The requirements to do an FSJ are going to be a KCSE certificate, and once again, your grade doesn't matter. So long as you have 12 years of school, you're qualified to do FSJ. Secondly, you need, of course, a contract, a health insurance, accommodation, and all these things are the things you get from that. For example, if you choose to do a kindergarten in a hospital, all this will be given to you by the person who signs your contract. Third, you need LIDA. Unfortunately, you need B1 level of this language. To be able to achieve B1 level comfortably, I think you need up to a year of studying it, although you can do it in a shorter time doing crash courses and all that, which is also fine. You can still pass the exam and have a B1 certificate, go to the embassy and get out with your visa, and I'll pick you from the airport. Yeah, and third, you need, of course, a filled out visa form and a passport. And anything that pertains to the document, please confirm again with the embassy that you're going to be going to with your contract. Yeah, so that's basically it. Also about FSJ, I would say I know a lot of people who've done it, and it's been a very important program to them in their lives. You get to meet a lot of people. Some of these FSJ programs send you even out to different countries to do your seminars and all that, to train you how to deal with this kind of people in the society. For example, the aged, the people living with disabilities and all that. So yeah, and then I think in my opinion, I think it's one of the best things to do in Germany, because you earn a little bit more money, you have more freedom, considering you live alone, so you don't have to live in a family, you don't have to stick by the rules, which you don't really have to do it as an au pair. But I mean, there's just a way you behave when you're living with a family and when you're alone. So yeah, to me, FSJ is also a very, very, very beautiful program. And then so next we're going to be talking about the BFD program, which is also a state-funded voluntary service. And there's not really a huge difference between FSJ and BFD. The only difference is FSJ, you can only do FSJ if you're up to 27 years old, and above 27 years old you cannot do it. But if you are intentional about doing BFD, yes, you can do it above 27 to whatever age that you are, and the requirements are basically the same. You need to have B1 level of language, you need to have a filled out visa form and a passport, you need to have 12 years of school, which means KCSE, and again, your grade doesn't matter. Yeah, and it pays a little bit more than FSJ. Yeah, so that's basically it about the three types of programs that can bring you to Germany. And just a bonus concerning the application with the FSJ and all that, you go, for example, you type on Google home of the aged in Germany, and then you type, and then it bring you a different number of lists, and then you pick out one of the websites. For example, I don't know, let's call it Maryanne's home of the aged. And then you go to the place where they talk about career and all that, and then you'll find a place where they call it either FSJ or practices year, which means one practical year, or practical year, which means the same as FSJ and all that. And then if you click on it, you'll always find an email to talk as a partner to talk to concerning your application. And that's how easy the application is. You remain in contact with your person, you remain in contact with your partner, and eventually the conversation might lead to you having a contract, health insurance, and accommodation, which are the three things you need to take to the embassy so that your visa gets processed. Perfect. So that's everything about FSJ and BFD. And the other thing about Aupair is, once you've created your profile on Aupair World or aupair.com, you remain in contact with these families. Make sure you visit your website as often as possible so that you don't miss out on families that have contacted you. And secondly, just be polite and all that, and show the real you, so that once you come to Germany, you don't get surprises, or they don't get surprises and all that. So basically, I wish you success looking for your contract. And if you have any questions, I know that definitely so many questions. First of all, subscribe to my channel, and secondly, post all of those questions down here. I will reply to all of them, I promise. And if there are too many, then I could as well do a Q&A video in follow-up to this video. I hope you enjoyed this content, and I hope I pick you up soon from the airport. So you have yourself a blessed day if you're watching this during the day, and please sleep well if you're watching this at night. Thank you, and bye.